Searching for Lewis Hall 2.0? Let's go. Yes, Geordies, welcome back to another episode. The first thing is always, I hope everyone's well, keeping warm, keeping safe, because it is Baltic out there. But as you guessed, in this episode, we're going to be searching and looking for left backs that can come in and help Lewis Hall. Remember, these videos aren't about replacing Lewis Hall, because Lewis Hall is an unbelievable footballer, and I'm excited for his return. But we all know the drop-off when Lewis Hall is injured. And he has had his injuries since arriving at Newcastle United. And with the January transfer window approaching, it's time we brought in another left back to help Lewis Hall. Again, this is no shade on Dan Burn, because Dan Burn has been unbelievable serving for us, but he's not a left back. And we all can see that. So we visually see the drop-off when Newcastle United don't have a natural left back playing at left back. Again, this is not to replace Lewis Hall. It's just to help Lewis Hall and allow us to rotate without losing or changing our style. Now, we have been linked to a versatile player, and that is Oscar Minguez. So guess what? Tomorrow's episode is going to be all about Oscar Minguez, because if you put two and two together, it kind of makes sense. Fabian Schär's likely to leave. Oscar Minguez is on a free in the summer. So could that be Fabian Schär's replacement? So in tomorrow's episode, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Oscar Minguez, his style, positioning, his strengths, weaknesses. So for that reason, if you are new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any episodes regarding Newcastle United. Now, this isn't the first episode we've done on left backs, because these are all the left backs we've spoken about already. Now, there's a couple of left backs I've not included in this video. Somebody like El Hadji Malik Diouf of West Ham. If West Ham do get relegated, then he should definitely be a target for Newcastle United. Somebody that's an absolute beast of an athlete. Athletic, strong, powerful. And I actually think he's got one of the best deliveries in the Premier League. And somebody like Nick Valdemada would thrive with a player like Diouf. I also like a couple of other players like Christian Kama, who's coming through the Roma Academy. Then there's actually an under-17s that's been catching my eye at the under-17s World Cup. And he plays for Mali, and that is Lamine Keita. He is somebody that reminds me a little bit of Diouf. Powerful, explosive, good technically, dynamic, quick, recovers the ball well, strong. All the attributes to be a top fullback. Let's get on with the episode, because I've got two fullbacks and one winger who I think can be converted into a fullback to talk about. Actually, I might have, fuck it, let's do four. But there's a lot of fullbacks that I could include in this. You've got Bradley Locko, who's just come back from injury. You've got Arsene Kounassi, who's currently at Lorient, who I think might actually end up at Bournemouth. So honestly, I could make these videos for days. But the ones I'm speaking about today haven't really got much senior experience. But that doesn't matter, because you've got to remember, Lewis Hall didn't really have much senior experience when he came to Newcastle United. And that is Lucas Jetten. He's currently in the Ajax Academy. He's 18 years old, stands at 5'7". He's a modern day fullback, energetic, supports attacks, participates in the build-up and contributes at both ends of the pitch. He was born in South Africa and adopted by a Netherlands family, and he relocated to the Netherlands at a young age, and then he got into the Ajax Academy. Now, Ajax do this thing where they annually give a trophy to the biggest talent for the future, which is a trophy called Abdel Nuri Trophy, and he was the winner of it. Some other winners include Frankie de Jong or Jarell Hato, who's currently at Chelsea. So there's a lot of hype surrounding this boy. He's not yet made his senior appearance for Ajax, but he has played for young Ajax quite often. And young Ajax play in the lower leagues of the Netherlands divisions. So he is competing against adults, let's say. So let's talk about his strengths. Now, we're going to focus on his attacking traits first of all. Well, look, he's small in physicality, but he's explosive in his actions. He relies more on agility, quick thinking, and explosive changes of direction and speed rather than robustness. He's not a fullback that's physically strong, but he's more quick, agile, nimble. That allows him to keep up with tricky wingers. He's creative. He's a progressive fullback. He's strong in his ball progression and his attacking support. Now, when he participates in the build-up, he's actually very good technically. He's comfortable in possession. He's comfortable building out from the back. He's got this wonderful low center of gravity that allows him to retain possession under pressure and dribble his way out of trouble. So he's got that ability to participate in the build-up. And again, that is something we're lacking when Dan Burn plays at left back. Now, what excites me the most is his ball progression. Somebody that can carry the ball forward and initiate attacks. He's averaging 4.92 progressive carries per 90 for young Ajax. Now, he's a player that always wants to get forward. Typical of a modern day fullback. He's somebody that creates space for himself and his teammates, but he's very good and got a good sense of overlapping, underlapping, and is excellent one-on-one situations. Now, he's relentless with his energy. Like I mentioned earlier, he's nimble, he's dynamic, he runs consistently throughout the 90 minutes. He's always overlapping or underlapping his winger, showcasing his remarkable stamina and relentless work rate. Now, his biggest attributes are his acceleration, speed, which are outstanding, which makes him the kind of player that can burst from the halfway line or deeper areas into the final third in an instant. So he's somebody that is technically very good and somebody that wants to get forward and has the dynamism, but also the recovery pace to recover his position. Because when we watch Dan Burn and he gets forward, not very often, but when he does get a nosebleed passing that halfway line, he doesn't have the recovery pace to get back, and that's where we're getting caught out. So when you've got somebody that is dynamic, quick, got good acceleration, somebody that can recover his pace, that is something that Newcastle United lack when we don't have Tino Livramento or Lewis Hall. Now, he's also technically very good, so this allows him to come inside. So if Eddie Howe wants to use him a little bit differently, allow him to invert in the midfield, to create overloads in the midfield, giving you that tactical flexibility is exactly what Lucas Jetten brings. Because despite him being a left back, he's also played in midfield, quite similar to Lewis Hall, which just highlights his comfortability in possession and in congested areas. So let's talk about his defensive traits. Now, defensively, he shows the same intensity as he does going forward, but again, he relies on agility, quick thinking, recovery pace, rather than robustness. He's somebody that will engage, he will go into tackles, but he doesn't have that muscle mass to muscle people off the ball. Where his downfall is when he's coming up against powerful midfielders. When he's coming up against tricky wingers who are quite agile, he tends to do quite well, but it's when he's coming up against those more physical players, that's where he does lack. But he's only 18, so just teaching him how to use his body better will allow him to win more duels. Like I mentioned there, when it comes to defensive contribution, he's not afraid of committing to challenges. He excels at intercepting the ball, clearances, recoveries, and he actually serves up well against pacey wingers because of his excellent pace and acceleration. So his pace, acceleration is a massive outlet. Now, what I do like about him, he always tries to come away with the ball. It's not just making a tackle and then putting it out for a clearance. He tries to retain possession so he can initiate attacks. And again, I think that is something we're missing once Lewis Hall or Tino Livramento is out the side, because we do our best work in broken play. Once we overturn the ball and we're direct and dynamic, that's when we punish the opponents. So when you're missing a profile like that, it can impact the overall team's performance. Now, we will be talking about his weaknesses, but I want to do two together because they've got similar weaknesses, so we'll be talking about them very shortly. But the next player is currently playing for Getafe. He's injured at the moment, but it's not a long-term injury. So, and that is Davinchi. He's 18 years old and he stands at 6 foot. Now, Davinchi is not his real name. It's actually his nickname. His real name is David Cordin Mancha. Now, again, these are similar profiles. And the reason why I've selected these, because they're similar profiles to Lewis Hall. Aggressive, energetic, can play as a wing back, which makes him a nice two-way player. He's very good at balancing defensive ability with attack and support. Now, this guy's had a phenomenal rise over the last couple of years. He actually started his career at the age of 5, and he joined an academy called Huleva, who play in the lower leagues of the Spanish divisions. He worked his way up, and he was actually playing 4th division football last season. Getafe activated his release clause, signed him this season, and put him straight into the team. He started the first 7 games of the season until he got injured. Now, his excellent performances last season got him a Spanish call-up to their youth level. He's played for their under-18s, 19s, and I expect him to move up to the under-21s. You know you're a good player when you get called up to the Spanish national team at any age group, because the talent they are breaking through, oh, it's insane. But let's talk about this guy's attacking traits, because he shows excellent attacking promise, always looks to attack space and support wingers. Now, what I like about him is his pace and athleticism. He can reach speed of 31 kilometers per hour, and that allows him to relentlessly dominate the left-hand side. Now, what I like about this guy is his excellent dribbling ability. He's somebody that is technically very good, got pace, can dribble at top speed. Now, It's important to identify the way Getafe play because they sit in a deep block and look to transition on teams, so he fits that model of transitioning, progressive, being dynamic. Now, when you watch him play, he's also fearless in his actions in and out of possession. He's actually been given a nickname by the Spanish media, and if I get this right, they call him Desparpajo, which means being bold in Spanish, and that's because he's fearless in one-on-one situations with and without the ball. So he's ideal for teams that want to transition very quickly. So he's ideal for Newcastle United because we play that way. So his profile is similar to Lewis Hall. Do you know what I think we really miss when Lewis Hall isn't playing or Tino Livramento's not playing at left back? Is somebody that can just carry the ball because that attracts opponents towards you, and that frees up space for everybody else. So Nick Valdemara, Bruno, Sandro Tonali, Joe Linton, whoever you want to call, Anthony Gordon, will have more time and space on the ball. So somebody that was just ability to create natural width or come inside or understanding the patterns of play and can support his winger. We desperately miss that when Lewis Hall is injured. Now, even if you have a look at his heat map, you can see he spends a majority of his time in the opposition half. So that just tells you how dynamic they are. And considering Getafe sitting a low block, just tells you everything you need to know about this fullback. And even if we have a look at his touches, he's averaging more touches in the opposition half than he is his own half. So again, that just shows you how much he does support his wingers. Let's talk about his defensive actions, because again, he's somebody that shows the same intensity defending than he does going forward. But the difference with this guy is he's a bit more of a strong dueler. He's got that physical output, and that allows him to be more bold in his challenges. He reads danger well. He steps out to intercept or close down wide attackers. Now, what I like about this guy when he plays, do you know when you watch some fullbacks and they just love a challenge? They love just to do you know that little sharpness they've got when they're engaging? That's what this guy brings. Now, what I like about him is his profile. He's got the physicality to compete muscle-wise, but he's also agile enough to compete against tricky wingers. Now, he's not perfect, and there's still areas for improvement, but the signs are there that he can actually be a very dynamic fullback. When you round it all up, the pressing intensity, the aggression, the speed, the athleticism, makes him a perfect fullback for Newcastle United's system. So what I'm trying to say is, if you include somebody like Lucas Jetten, yes, he might not have the experience, or Davinchi, I keep on going to say the Davinci code. If you include the Davinci code in Newcastle United's team, if Lewis Hall does need a rest or an injury, we can bring him in without having to completely change or rip up our system. Now, when it comes to weaknesses of them both, look, they both lack significant top-flight football experience. So it's somebody that would have to bed in a top-flight football. The weaknesses are quite similar. Lucas Jetten, he is getting better, but he needs to understand how to use his body better in duels, and that will give him a bigger advantage against more physical, dominant players. And then the next 2 points are quite similar. The first one is final third output. They both lack the decisiveness in that final third. And what I mean by decisiveness is decision-making, chance creation, crossing accuracy. But again, these are all things that come with experience. Nobody's going to ever get it 100% right. And again, you can put it on a plate for your striker and he might miss the opportunity. But as long as the intention is there, then every player can be developed. And then a final point for the two of them is just understanding the build-up, the tempo, the rhythm of the game, because they're both dynamic and want to get forward at every opportunity. And I love that. We'll never take that out of their game. But they need to understand when to make the right pass, when to be progressive, and when to recycle possession and keep possession and be a little bit more safe. Because sometimes they do let the ball get overturned by choosing the wrong option, trying to be progressive and forcing the ball forwards when the pass option is not available. Now, my final two guys I wasn't going to talk about, but I'm just going to touch about them very briefly because I do feel like they deserve a mention. And the first guy is Juan Arizala, who's a Colombian 20-year-old 5'11" versatile player. And I say versatile because he's never actually played left back. He came through the academy as a right winger and he broke through into senior football as a right winger. But this year, he joined up with Colombia under 20s for 2 tournaments, played left back for them both, and got into team of the tournament in both tournaments. And he was an absolute joy to watch at left back. And just think about it, when you're converting a winger into a left back position, you know what you're going to get. Somebody with winger instincts. So he wants to get forward. He excels in one-on-one situations, but he also excels at creating opportunities in that final third. Now, as you can see from the screen there, these are formations from 2 different tournaments. He played as a conventional left back in one tournament, then played as a wing back in the other tournament. And I can't lie, he was absolutely excellent in them both. So let's quickly talk about his best traits. Well, he came through as a right winger, I've already mentioned. So he offers that versatility. Can play as a right winger, he can play as a left back, can play as a wing back. And he offers that modern day fullback vibe where it's raw athleticism, direct dribbling, and wide isolation. Now, because he's got that winger's mentality, he excels in everything you want in a modern day fullback: explosive pace, explosive dribbling, direct ball carrying, positional flexibility, and that ability to be absolutely dangerous in the final third. Now, even if we have a look at some of his statistics over those 2 tournaments, he was simply outstanding. Now, the first tournament where he firstly played at left back was under 20s CONMEBOL Championship. He was averaging 49.3 touches per 90, which just shows his involvement in the build-up. He was averaging 1 successful dribble, 1 key pass, 4.8 ball recoveries, 4.6 ground duels, winning 70%, and 1.5 aerial duels, winning 75%. That was his first experience playing a fullback. And if we move it on to his second experience, it's even better. He was even more involved in the game, averaging 62.2 touches per 90. His dribbling success rate went up and he was averaging 1.4. His key passes went up and he was averaging 1.1. His ball recoveries went up and he was averaging 6.6. His ground duels went up and he was averaging 4.1. And his aerial duels went up and he was averaging 1.7. Do you know who he reminds me of a lot? And I spoke about him earlier on in this episode, Juve. He's got that similar profile, that similar mentality and ability. And my final player is Kassoum Ouattara, who's 21 years old. He plays for Monaco. Now, he's somebody that came through the ranks as a left back. And again, he's somebody that provides that modern day left back. He's attack-minded, expansive in his play, athletic and dynamic. Now, where this kid excels, he's a proper speedster. He's got exceptional short burst agility, and that allows him to support attacks. Now, this is somebody that loves to get in that final third. He's a fullback that plays like a winger. He excels in one-on-one situations. Do you know what my favorite thing about him is his ability to create third-man runs. If his winger's hogging the touchline, he's somebody that will come and underlap his winger to provide support. If his winger's coming inside, he's somebody that will stretch the pitch. So his understanding of the game is really impressive for his age. But he's also got wonderful attributes for a fullback: agility, aggression, pressing intensity, technical ability, and the pace to recover his position. I mean, even if you have a look at his statistics, you can clearly see his style of play. He excels in creating opportunities, so he's very good in that final third. He ranks highly for shot-creating actions, non-penalty goals, assists, expected assists. Now, when it comes to ball carrying, he's absolutely exceptional. He's somebody that does prefer to carry the ball rather than intricate little combinations of passing sequences. But as you can see, progressive carry, successful take-ons, blocks, tackles, interceptions, aerial duels. He ranks highly for them all. Now, one area he does rank highly, and I mentioned this in previous episodes, is he receives a lot of progressive passes, which means his starting position is higher than most. So again, he's somebody that will create that outlet to break through the lines. So if your goalkeeper or centre-back's got the ball, he always is an option in possession, but even better, and always a forward option. So there's another video of 4, actually I mentioned more than just 4 fullbacks that Newcastle United could target in January. Now again, we have been linked to a defender, so I will be doing an episode tomorrow all about Oscar Minguez. So if you enjoyed this video and have any thoughts, please drop them in the comments below. But how were those players? Is there any that did catch your eye, or you would sit and think, yeah, he would be a good rotation option for Lewis Hall? Let me know your thoughts in the below. But once again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and join the Mango Fruit Basket family. Hope you have a nice week. Enjoy your day. Away the lads.